In the autumn of 2020, the Nagorno-Karabakh War marked a decisive turning point in the long-running conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the disputed region of Karabakh. After nearly 3 decades of frozen tensions following the First War in the 1990s, large-scale fighting erupted on September 27 and lasted 44 intense days. Azerbaijan launched a coordinated military campaign aimed at regaining territories that had been under Armenian control since the earlier conflict. Central to Azerbaijan's success was the extensive use of modern warfare technologies, particularly unmanned aerial vehicles, precision artillery, and real-time surveillance systems. These tools altered battlefield dynamics, enabling Azerbaijani forces to target defensive positions and supply lines with unprecedented effectiveness. Ground offensives advanced steadily across southern districts, culminating in the capture of the strategically vital city of Shusha in early November. Its fall proved decisive, shifting the balance of power and accelerating diplomatic efforts to halt the fighting. On November 10, a Russian-brokered ceasefire agreement formally ended hostilities, confirming Azerbaijan's recovery of significant portions of territory and establishing peacekeeping forces along key corridors. A defining feature of the 2020 conflict was Azerbaijan's extensive reliance on air power and long-range strike capabilities. Unmanned combat aerial vehicles, loitering munitions often referred to as kamikaze drones, and reconnaissance platforms played a central role in locating and destroying armored vehicles, air defense systems, artillery batteries, and fortified positions. High-resolution video footage released during the war showed precision strikes against frontline units, dramatically shaping public perception of the campaign. Alongside aerial operations, Azerbaijani forces employed coordinated artillery barrages and rocket systems to soften defensive lines before advancing ground troops. Modern targeting networks allowed units to integrate drone surveillance with real-time fire control, increasing accuracy and reducing reaction times. This combination placed intense pressure on entrenched forces, disrupting communications, logistics routes, and troop movements. Airstrikes were also used to hit infrastructure supporting military operations, including supply depots and command centers. The tempo of these attacks limited the opposing side's ability to regroup or mount large counteroffensives. Together, air superiority and sustained artillery fire created momentum on multiple fronts, accelerating territorial gains and demonstrating how modern, network-driven warfare can decisively influence a short but intense campaign. In addition to artillery and reconnaissance drones, Azerbaijan employed a broader mix of aerial platforms to sustain pressure across the battlefield. Armed helicopters were used in supporting roles, particularly for close air support, patrol missions, and rapid responses along contested fronts. Operating at low altitudes, these aircraft helped engage ground targets and escort advancing units, though their use required careful coordination due to air defense threats. Strike drones remained the most visible symbol of the campaign, but conventional aircraft also contributed. Fighter jets and support planes were positioned to deter escalation and protect airspace, reinforcing Azerbaijan's control of the skies even when they were not constantly engaged in frontline attacks. Their presence added strategic weight, signaling readiness and limiting the opponent's freedom of movement. Loitering munitions hovered silently over conflict zones, waiting for targets to appear before diving with explosive force. These systems blurred the line between missile and aircraft, allowing operators to strike mobile units, radar installations, and troop concentrations with little warning. Combined with helicopter patrols and jet deployments, they formed a layered air strategy: surveillance, precision strike, and deterrence working together. This integration of diverse aerial assets illustrated a new model of modern warfare, where speed, coordination, and technological superiority in the air could shape events on the ground within weeks rather than years. Throughout the 2020 conflict, drone warfare became one of the most defining and controversial elements of the campaign. Unmanned systems were used continuously to patrol front lines, track troop movements, and identify vulnerable targets moving along roads or concealed in mountainous terrain. Once located, columns of army trucks transporting supplies or reinforcements could be struck within minutes, disrupting logistics and slowing counterattacks. Armored vehicles and tanks, once dominant symbols of ground power, proved increasingly exposed. Strike drones and loitering munitions targeted these heavy platforms from above, hitting thinner top armor and disabling engines, turrets, or ammunition stores. Videos released during the fighting showed tanks halted in open fields, convoys scattered along highways, and defensive positions collapsing under repeated aerial attacks. Soldiers attempting to reposition or regroup were also vulnerable to constant surveillance, which reduced opportunities for surprise maneuvers. The psychological impact of unseen aircraft circling overhead added another dimension to combat, forcing units to conceal movements, abandon equipment, or retreat from exposed areas. These drone operations highlighted a profound shift in modern warfare. Relatively small, remotely operated systems guided by real-time intelligence demonstrated how air dominance no longer depended solely on large aircraft, but increasingly on networks of agile, persistent unmanned platforms shaping the battlefield hour by hour. Alongside aerial operations, massive artillery firepower played a relentless and decisive role in shaping the battlefield during the 2020 conflict. Long-range guns, rocket artillery, and multiple launch rocket systems were positioned across wide sectors, capable of unleashing concentrated barrages within moments of receiving targeting data. When coordinated with aerial surveillance, these weapons could saturate defensive lines, striking dozens of positions almost simultaneously. Entire hillsides and fortified zones were subjected to waves of shelling intended to suppress movement, destroy bunkers, and fracture communications networks. Salvos landed in rapid succession, overwhelming trenches, vehicle parks, and command areas before ground forces advanced. The sheer volume of fire, hundreds of projectiles launched in short intervals, created shock effects that echoed across valleys and ridges. These strikes were often carefully timed, beginning with reconnaissance, followed by precision-guided rounds, and then heavier bombardments to deny regrouping. Roads and supply corridors came under repeated attack, complicating reinforcement efforts. And if you are looking for a place to honor fallen soldiers and keep their legacy alive, subscribe to this channel and be part of us, enforcing withdrawals from exposed locations. The scale and coordination of this artillery use illustrated how modern armies integrate traditional firepower with digital targeting systems. Rather than isolated gun batteries acting alone, entire networks of launchers operated together, transforming artillery into a rapid, synchronized force capable of reshaping front lines in a matter of hours.